Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
It's nice to see everybody this beautiful morning. I hope everybody's doing well. We got a lot of stuff that we are going over. As promised, I said I was going to give you guys an update on the political violence. And then we're going to get going into the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan, 2 children, siblings that disappeared May 2nd, 2025, several months ago, and have not been seen or heard from since. This has been a very, very wild case. I do not believe the parents. I did see that the deception detective still hasn't let this case go. There was another interview prior to the one that Daniel did with the drunk turkey show that I had missed and we haven't gone over. Well, the deception detective did go over that over the last, I think it was like in the last 24 or 48 hours. However, I'm not going to be playing that today because we're still in the process of getting through this interview in its entirety. And it's long and slow because we're finding a lot of inconsistent statements being made, but we're also finding some information that we didn't once know coming from a person. Whether we believe the information or not is a completely, utterly different conversation to have. But, you know, Daniel Martell, the stepfather, the alleged stepfather, they're not married by any stretch of the imagination, but he's kind of taken the spot as the stepfather for these kids. These kids, when Malehya left Cody Sullivan wanted nothing more to do with the children, wanted nothing to do with Malehya. It must tell you how toxic that had to... Look at my green cup. I didn't even think about that when I had my green cup. You can see through me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My mouth is gone. Oh no. Where did my mouth go? Blah. Who says we don't have fun here on the Brooks-Murray channel? So, let me put my face back on. Maybe I need to put it in the white cup. This is a dirty cup, though. I didn't wash the cup last night. I forgot it was in here. So we're just gonna have to see my face go bye-bye. Where did my eyes go? Oh my God, I can't see! I got eyes in the back of my head. Oh my God, Daniel's there. My face. I'm Daniel Martell. And I'm gonna tell you guys I did something horrible. I say horrible. Okay, I'm gonna stop. So before we get, really in going into the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan, many of you guys, if you've been with me from the beginning of this case, you guys know how I feel about it. I don't trust either one of the parents. I think the parents are exhibiting major issues. Something happened. We don't know what. Was it an accident? Was it a fight that went too far? You know, did they get all messed up and leave the children outside? I mean, we don't know what we're looking at here, but we know that the parents must have had something to do with it. They're out in the middle of nowhere. The option of stranger danger is literally minor, so small. Such a small percentage, I don't even think it registers on the Richter scale at this point when it comes to these kids and the possibility of an abduction. Now, there was something stated about a woman pulling to the side of the road, but the kids appeared to look like they knew the person. The person was standing there, waiting there with the doors open. These kids appeared to be older than what Lilly and Jack would have been at the time. And the statement didn't come in until almost 30 days after these children went missing. So, not that it means anything. Sometimes people don't hear things. People didn't realize, maybe people were just passing through from another state, didn't realize anything. For example, I was driving, and I remember it was by mile marker 9. I want to say mile marker 9, maybe in Alabama. Maybe it was in Mississippi. I can't remember at this point. But there was this maroon or... I want to say a maroon truck that was backed in off this interstate. And you know me, my spidey senses went off. Is somebody dumping a body? It's dark out. You barely see this vehicle. It's off the interstate. It's backed into this area. It doesn't look like it's spun out. And I'm just sitting there driving by. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have this mental note that it's mile marker 9. I remembered mile marker 9. The problem is now I don't remember what state it was in. Was it in Mississippi? Was it in Alabama? Was it in Louisiana? I don't remember. I just know it was off mile marker. For whatever reason, I want to say it's Alabama. It's Alabama. Maybe it's because I remember Bibbs County, the horrible people, and I was going through Alabama, and I think it was exit 9 off one of the interstates. Maybe it was I-10, I-12. I don't know. I just remember seeing this burgundy truck backed all the way into the forestry, and there was no reason for it. So I kept wondering, you know, is there a missing person somewhere out there? And maybe I just solved a case. I don't know. I didn't call it in. You know, I know if we see something, we say something. Maybe I should have called it in and just said, hey, you know what? If there's a burgundy vehicle involved in a homicide, you probably got a body dumped out here at exit 9, mile marker 9 off of whatever road I was on. Anyways, we have a lot of problems going on around this country. This case that I'm talking about is actually in Canada, right? With this Bullhorn Betty channel has never covered a case out of the United States before. This is my first, binational case. I don't know what we call it. I don't know what we call it. But the Lilly and Jack case is coming from is out of Canada, Nova Scotia, Canada. It's a rural area, Lansdowne Station, very rural area, very desolate. People don't make a lot of money there. We do have some questions related to the timeline, predominantly around July 16th. We'll get there because I'm going to read the whole spiel when we get there. I wrote this stuff out, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over again because it just makes it easier for me to give a Reader's Digest version. Robin, thank you. Melanie, thank you. I know you guys are gifted me. Let's sleep. I missed Robin, so we go up here to Robin's. Give you a little heart there. There it goes. Good morning, all beautiful people. Hit that like button. You better hit that like button. We got 90 people up in here. Our click rate is 5. People need to say hi to one another. When did you guys quit being so neighborly? I just want to ask my audience that. When did you guys quit being so neighborly? Tell your neighbor, thy neighbor, hi. Hey. Because I'm a love machine. And we ain't with all that.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
Just saying, you want to hit that thumb up button. You don't want Bullhorn Betty. You out. Just saying. I got a potty mouth and it all day long.
Shut up.
All right, I'm moving on. All right, so around the country, we have some things going on. A lot of people are out here mad and angry about us being sick and tired of the illegal immigrants being in our country. Look, we didn't bring them here. We didn't ask them to break into our country under lies and do this to themselves. We didn't ask them to do this, okay? I'm not going to sit here and be upset that ICE agents are enforcing our laws. Now, for the assholes that are out there in the streets, the animals that want to attack our officers, you have every opportunity to get off your lazy little violent butt, take your butt down to your legislature and start changing the immigration laws. But being violent to our agents is not how we handle our business, because there are laws here that say these people that break into our country have to move out of our country. That's what our laws say. So unless you want to change the laws, quit complaining about the laws, okay? And quit abusing people because you don't like the laws. We don't do that around here. How we work in the United States of America is we get off our rumps. We go to our legislatures, we go to our politicians, we tell them what we want. We be a boil on the butt of them until they get off their butt and do what we want. That's the American way, okay? I talk about being a boil on the butt of a politician. I've been telling you guys about that for years. I also tell you whenever I get started on a feat, what do I say? It's going to take me 5 to 10 years to even get this off the ground. It's hard. It's hard work. But you know what? Instead of going and beating the people up that are enforcing the laws, maybe you should be beating the people up that actually wrote the laws, like the Democrat Party. Let's not forget, it was the Democrat Party that had their hands 20, 30, and 40 years ago in drafting all of this stuff to keep these illegals out. Let's not forget. Let's not forget. All the problems that we're exhibiting in America right now is predominantly Democrat done. Their hands in it. Not ours, theirs. And I know people from the Democrat side don't like hearing that. They're like, oh my God, Betty's so biased. It's because I speak the truth, and nobody likes hearing the truth, especially when they're on the wrong side of it. And that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. But that's not the end all be all. We've got our agents being attacked, and they've got no one to call. No one to call. So I'm like, appalled with J.D. Pritzker. I think he is a piece of garbage, but what do you expect when you have somebody like Queen Bee in your state and vote? Oh, that's right. Queen Bee can't vote. She's a felon. I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting she's a felon. So I guess maybe, but you never know. They want felons. They want illegals. J.B. Pritzker doesn't care who he gets the vote from. All he cares about is being in power and running his state into the ground for profit. And that's what they're doing. And they're doing a great job at it. And they've got the help of, creatures like, the transgender community, people from the white liberal women's community club, We have a lot of their type of people here on this, the felons that can't get a job anywhere, that are low pieces of shit. They come here on YouTube and get a job and speak hate and all that. Yeah, those people, they come from areas like this that are ran by assholes like this. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Got an armed woman Saturday morning. DHS says agents acted in self-defense after she rammed them with her car. A hospital has released her into FBI custody. Christina Coleman is live with more. Hello, Christina.
FBI custody.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, things also got heated last night between anti-ICE protesters and federal agents in the Brighton Park neighborhood of Chicago last night. Take a look at this disturbing video.
Get back! Get back! Get back!
Okay, hold on. Look at my button. Wasn't JB just on here telling us it's so safe in his state? I'm asking for the people in the back. Can anybody hear me? Hello? Anybody home? Is anybody home? Hello? I don't think anybody's home. Do we need to go back? Didn't JB say this is the safest place on earth? I think that tampon lady, Kotek, I don't know, the tampon lady from Oregon, right? I thought she said Oregon was safe too. I'm really concerned because, from an average Joe, I can't speak for everybody, right? But I can only speak for the average Joe, okay? And the average Joe, okay? Like, this doesn't look safe to me. I don't know, I'm not saying, oh, honey, I want to go there for vacation. Can we go there? I want an exclusive trip to this area. This looks like fun. Nobody ever said ever. Okay? Like, this is not where I'm going to vacation, folks. Okay? I was lied to by a governor. 2 of them to be exact. Because I was told if I go into their area, into Chicago, I'd be safe. How many of you guys, by a show of ones and twos in the chat, do you think Bullhorn Betty would be safe walking down a street in Chicago? Raise your hand. Do you think I'm going to be safe in Chicago? And I'm talking about without the fat bee on the road, okay? I'm talking about without the fat bee on the road. Do you guys think I'm safe in Chicago? Come on, y'all. 1 for yes, Betty's ultra safe. 2 is, yeah, we're not going to let you walk down the road without a big security team. Nobody's safe in Chicago. Okay, there we go. Guys, we getting the polls in, okay? No, nobody's safe. The audience has spoken, okay? The audience has spoken. Nobody is safe in Chicago. So what does that tell us about the governor? I'm hearing that we have a troll. Do we have a troll? Do we have a troll up in the house? We don't do trolls here on Bullhorn Betty channel. We don't like trolls. I'm gonna have to go to this one, cause I don't think I have my chat. I think I have to go to this one, cause I think this is where my whack-a-troll is.
Sneaky gremlins love to fight, but we're here to set it right. Jump and duck, let's take a shot, turning trolls into what they're not. Whack a troll, whack a troll. Let 'em tumble, let 'em roll. Swing your spatula or a stick. Whack 'em fast, whack 'em quick.
So,
You're a liar.
that's what it...
Liar.
Nice try, but you're a liar. Liar, liar, liar. Nice try, but you're a liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
All right, so what is Jamie Pretzer? Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's more fitting. That's more fitting, because, you know, we can't... All right, let's get back to this. I'm just saying, this doesn't look like a safe place to me, okay? I don't know what the governor's talking about. Governor, you got some explaining to do to Bullhorn Betty. I don't understand how this is safe. Oh, you said you had no problems in Chicago. We got no probs.
Get
Do we have vendors out here now? I mean, are they selling alcohol on the streets? Did they have some barbecue? Some I don't know. What we got going on here? It looks like it's a street party. What's going on in Chicago? Folks, what's going on in Chicago? Don't know. Seems pretty violent. With a side of salsa, I guess.
On the ground there says anti-ICE protesters were throwing objects at ICE agents and vehicles.
I'm gonna tell you guys, if I go out there and I see you UMFers throwing crap, I'm not only am I gonna throw it back at you, I don't care about going to jail. If you looked at my record, I'm gonna bend you over my knee and whip your ass like your mommy and daddy should have done. I'm just letting you know you don't want Bullhorn Betty out there, okay? You don't want Bullhorn Betty. I have zip ties in stock on the car, okay? I'm zip tying your ass and leaving you out there for the cops to come and drag your ass to jail. That's what I'm gonna be doing, okay? And I'm pretty sure I got a team out there on the field that's gonna be willing to help me, okay? I just gotta give them some directions. Don't make me bring out the zip ties, folks, okay? Occasionally they're fun, okay? But I don't think you're gonna enjoy them, okay? I'm just saying. Don't bring Betty to Chicago. Chicago
As law
can't handle
enforcement
Betty.
deployed tear gas to break up the violent crowd. ICBP and FBI agents were all at the
Violent
scene at
crowd?
one point.
I am just shocked here to hear all of this violence in Chicago. The safest freaking place to be. You know how I know that? Because J.B. Pritzker told us it's the safest place to be. I don't understand why. Why are the... I think lying, mainstream media is lying again. They're calling the place violent, okay? It cannot possibly be violent if we got the governor telling us it's safe. There's just no possibility of that.
Anti-ICE protesters attempted to block a major roadway in Broadview, Illinois. State troopers made several arrests after that incident. Also, federal authorities say Border Patrol law enforcement officers were ambushed by domestic terrorists who ran.
A domestic terrorist? You say what? Domestic terrorists? But J.B. Pritzker said it was safe. It was safe. He told us. You guys heard him over and over again. We don't need the help of the president. We're safe. We're safe. We don't need no help from the president. We're safe. Now we got domestic terrorists? Domestic terrorists? I don't know. That doesn't seem safe to me, folks. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem safe. You guys got to decide for yourself, but I feel like JB lied to me. I think he lied to the world. I think he's a liar. If he lied about this, oh my gosh, what else could he have possibly lied about? I am just shocked. I can't even say it with a straight face.
Rammed federal agents with their vehicles and boxed them in with their cars the night before in Broadview, Illinois, that same area where anti-ICE protesters have been gathering for weeks now. Take a look at this. DHS says this woman, Miramar Martinez, was driving one of the vehicles. They say she was armed with a semi-automatic weapon and has a history of doxing federal agents.
Oh, and not only that, but threatened them. Like, she was on their radar. She was like the JB. You guys knew about this lady. Why did you let her do what she did? Oh, because you supported it. Come on, JB. Come on, Governor. Tell us the truth. Yeah, we know you lied about the safety aspect because we're seeing crap going on in your streets and we're hearing about domestic terrorists, and here are domestic terrorists. And I gotta say, they don't look very American to me. JB, what's going on in your state? I thought we were all safe. Apparently we're not safe in Chicago. Interesting.
And authorities identified this man that you see there as Anthony Ian Santos Ruiz. They say he was a driver of another vehicle in this incident. DHS said, quote, the scene became increasingly violent as more domestic terrorists gathered and began throwing smoke, gas.
Why aren't they showing the incident? It was a very violent, hostile, scary incident, and that lady's lucky to be alive. I would have put a bullet in her brain, okay? I'm just saying. I'm a barbaric woman when it comes to people being violent. I got no patience for it. I got no patience for the BS. I'm one of these people, either throw you in jail or put you in the grave, okay? That's just where I come from, okay? Not very Christian. I'm still a Christian lady. God's working on me.
Rocks and bottles at DHS law enforcement. Another domestic terrorist was arrested for assaulting CBP at the scene. Extremely dangerous. Take a listen.
A 10-car caravan followed and stalked our agents and then circled them in and pinned them down. They had to shoot their way out of their cars in order to get to safety. So we do have some bounties that have been released on the heads of our...
Shoot their ways. Bounties. $10,000 a head. They want to see these people's bodies brought to them. Okay? This is no joke. Okay? So for all you folks out there that are going to the ticket line thinking this is a joke, you better watch who you are supporting, because you are supporting the murder of people with your vote. There's no if and it's never been clearer in America as it is right today in 2025. You either have a party of murderers or you have the party of people that pray and want peace around this world. You have the party of chaos that sows chaos, or you have the party of people that want law and order. It has never been clearer than 2025 going into 2026. This should be a very simple and very easy decision to make for 2026.
Our agents, $10,000 to kill them, and they're naming specific agents.
Now, this comes days after violent clashes between anti-ICE protesters and federal law enforcement.
Oh, and never mind. The governor that won't step in or put people. This took days. How long have these been going on before you see these officers there? Days. JB let those federal agents go without any cover, without any assistance, with their life in jeopardy, and he didn't give a shit, and neither did his police chief. They all should be fired, if not arrested. Because again, how do I deal with it? I either arrest you or shoot you. That's how I deal with shit, right? Lawfully and legally, of course. I don't think that people should just go out there and take the law into their own hands, but I do believe in law and order, and I believe in the court system, and I believe in, in political stuff. Whenever you go through, it's like you're treasonous or anything, I believe that you do not get the electric chair or the easy way out. I think you need to be strapped to a pole and shot when it comes to our country. And I think it needs to be as public can be. Other things, murdering of private people and stuff like that's something different. But coups, treason, no. I want that public. I want that on a poll. I want everybody to see what we do to people like that. Okay? I want everybody to see what we do to people like that. I don't ever want this to ever happen in our country, which it probably won't. The last time something like this happened was 100 years ago. Now we're here. We're going to this is probably never going to happen for another 100 years. But, at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we mark this in history and explain exactly to our people in the future that will be our future leaders exactly how we got here so they don't get here. We need to educate the future, right? And right now, we've got a whole bunch of dumb people, okay? I've got a whole bunch of politicians that are literally on the heaviest types of drugs you can imagine running this country. Not just alcohol, but meth, crack, okay? These people are running our country with a glass pipe hanging out of their mouth. You guys understand that, right? There are several people in our Congress that are literally drug addicts running our country. And people still know this and still keep putting their name next to theirs and keep putting them back into office. I don't know how these drug addicts and these people that were literally sleeping with spies, international spies, because our men in Congress are disgusting. They don't know personal, they don't know boundaries. When they get up to certain levels, they're just like, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that, I deserve to cheat on my wife. I deserve to bring back a nasty disease to my wife, right? Because men in Congress can be disgusting, okay? And there are a few of them not only disgusting, but are on drugs, and I don't even want to see what their hotel rooms look like. It's disgusting. How they've been able to keep this under wraps for so long, I don't know. If you have disgusting images, if you are a person that cleans hotel rooms and you know that a politician, a Republican or Democrat, I'm not, trust me, I do it both ways, honey. I'm it doesn't matter to me because I hate the swamp, okay? I don't care if it's on my side. I want to clean up my side of the street just as bad as I want to clean up the other side of the street. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't care. If you are a cleaner of hotel rooms and you got some dirt, send Betty the dirt. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Send Betty the dirt. I will put it up here. I don't really care. I've already lived my life, okay? If I get the Charlie Kirk treatment, I've lived a good life, folks. I lived a good life. I've lived a good life. But this has got to stop.
Outside of the ICE facility in Broadview, Illinois. It seems like it's happening there night after night. Yesterday, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said he was notified that the Trump administration intends to federalize 300 members of the National Guard.
I mean, hell, even your own freaking news crew's saying how violent it is over there. I don't know, folks. Are we getting, is our next trip, is the Bullhorn Betty channel, or is our next trip going to be in Chicago? I think not. I think any corporation that's not in Chicago should pull all their freaking no events in Chicago. I don't care. Find another place. Find another place. We do not support trash areas. This place, these governors have kept these people in these conditions when they could have changed it, but they did it for profit. Okay? Let's be honest here. They've had their hand out to the federal government trying to clean up the streets of Chicago forever, and now they've got a man that says, okay, instead of me spending money, keep giving you millions and millions of dollars year after year after year and do nothing with it, let me just come and clean up your problem for you. Like, oh, wait a minute, we don't need your help. We just need your money, right? These suckers, this guy right here has done more damage to the black and brown communities than President Donald J. Trump, that's given $500 million to predominantly black and brown schools, community schools, right? This guy wants people to sit there in Chicago and live with violence. Children walking down the street being executed because of gang violence in their communities. Children. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just wants the money. He just wants the money because it's like that, it's like that panhandler, right? Right? On the side of the road, we've all seen it. That's the way I look at some of these governors. They're the panhandlers on the corner. okay? They've got their hand out for your money. They want you to help them pay for their gas. They want you to help. Oh, they're down on their luck. They need some food, some water. So they want your money. Hand me your money. Hand me your money. Right? Well, what do you need? I need food and water. Perfect. Walk into the store, get them food and water. They'll throw it at you. Why? Because they didn't really want the food and water. They just wanted the money. Okay? And that's what this governor and Tampax tampon, Kotex tampon lady, same thing. Same thing. They want their handout, they want their federal funds, but they don't want to do anything to really support their communities or to lift their communities up. These communities, just because they're poor, don't mean that they have to live in violence. These people don't want violence in their life. They don't want to walk out their door and see drugs being slung. Their only problem in these communities is they're poor. A lot of these people go to church, work 3 jobs, and they still can't get above below. It doesn't mean they're out there gangbanging. It doesn't mean they're out there using drugs. Their only crime is being broke. And this governor thinks because they're broke, they deserve to live in a crime-ridden area where their children are the prey of the street. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we on the other side of the road believe that being poor doesn't mean you should be shot or live in a crime-ridden area. We believe better. We believe if you give people safe places to live, they will actually thrive, right? They will see a better tomorrow. When they start seeing their streets cleaned up and seeing what life could be, they dream bigger. When their life has been destroyed and they open their doors and windows and see nothing but gun violence and drugs, that diminishes anybody's dreams. Let's be honest. Illinois needs President Trump, and so does Oregon. I don't give a I don't give a about this fat, okay? Or Kotex tampon and you know what? Her and the bleach blonde hair with the Kotex, you know, for the last name. Yeah, you know, yeah. Now she went with a red head or pink. I don't know. I think I'd have a little more poking of the fun. But for her to be platinum and to have Kotex tampon name, we ain't right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. I'm just going to say it. We ain't right. We just ain't right.
A move he strongly opposes. Pritzker said, quote, "The Trump administration's Department of War gave me an ultimatum. Call up your troops or we will. It is absolutely outrageous and un-American to demand a governor send military troops within our own borders."
Well, you know, we wouldn't have to do that if you actually had a safe community. I mean, there is that, right? So he got caught lying. He got caught lying again. And then they're saying, you're lying so much and it's so fucking violent in your freaking state. We need the army to come in. We need the National Guards to come in to clean up your street. That's how bad it's gotten. That is a damn shame. Governor, I'm going to tell you, like I said in my post to you this morning, I'm going to speak for a lot of America when I tell you to sit the fuck down and shut up. Sorry about the grotesque language, folks. Now we're going to go over to the tampon lady.
Portland police are sharing more about their response to protest at the South Waterfront ICE facility over the weekend. Fox 12's investigative reporter Adrian Thomas joins us with more details. Adrian?
Well, Riel, Chief Bob Day spoke to reporters earlier today after a night of large protests outside the ICE facility, sharing details of 2 arrests that were made and PPB's plans moving forward. Notably, Chief Day emphasized that Portland does not need the presence of National Guard troops and that his officers have the city under.
I love it. We don't need the National Guards over here. Sounds like the same, you know, statements that J.B. Pritzker stated, right? And we saw what was going on in his community. I don't know. I'm not signing up for my all-inclusive vacation there in Chicago. I wonder if Portland's going to be the same. Do you guys think Portland's going to be the same? Are we going to have our next vacation in Portland, Oregon? Let's see how safe this place is. I mean, the governor is saying it's safe. We don't need nobody. We're just overreacting out here in the country, right? Us crazy folks, us crazy. What are we? We're not liberals, because liberals are actually crazy. What do they call us? What do they call us? Cult members? I was sitting there thinking about that. I'm like, these people are out in the road wanting to slaughter us, and they call us the cult members. I'm just like, you're like ready to murder somebody, lady. You think I'm in a cult? I would think that you probably need to look at yourself a little bit, because I'm starting to think that you folks are in the cult, okay? Because let me just break it down to you. This is how I know I'm not in a cult, okay? I'm not in a cult because if I disagree with you, I don't want to blow your head off, okay? I don't have voices in my head that say, I want to kill those that dissent from my, thought process. Only you folks there on the Democrat side actually do that horse shit, okay? We're not violent over here. Granted, we got some crazy people, but they don't, they're just part of the group. They don't identify with us. They just have to vote for somebody. And so they chose this side. Even them. Even our crazies on our side of the road aren't near as violent as the majority of you effers on that side of the road. That's sick. That's sick. It truly is a vote of good versus evil in this election. I hope you guys are on the right side of history, folks. I really do. I pray for each and every one of you to be on the right side of history.
Under control.
Oh, come on. I thought the governor said it was safe. This is what they call safe? This is safe. Huh. Wow. I don't know about y'all, but this is not what I call safe. I don't see this in Florida. The people in Florida, like, they don't shuttle buses here in Florida, okay? You want to know why they don't shuttle buses here in Florida? Because you come and do this kind of shit here in Florida, if our law enforcement doesn't take you out, God bless it, the residents will. We are packing. If we feel even one iota of fear for our safety, we're putting a bullet in your ass. We are putting a bullet slap in your ass, and it's lawful and legal. Why? Because we are in the free state of Florida, and we have this thing known as stand your ground. We do not ever see this kind of crap in our streets. Bring that shit to our streets, it's cleaned up like this. We don't have to fight with governors. You know why? Because we'll push the governor slap up out our way and say, here, hold my beer. Okay? We don't play here in the state of Florida. Okay? We don't play with criminals in the state of Florida. That's why you don't see this shit going on in our street. Can you imagine somebody blocking the traffic here? You would have a lot of body bags because our trucks would run you slap over. We do not play in the state of Florida, and we made sure our politicians wrote that in our laws, so that there's no misunderstanding when we have a liberal police chief or a liberal judge. We made sure we protected our ass by putting this stuff in our law. You stand in our street, we run you over. You threaten our lives, we shoot you. That should be the way it is all across this country. Lawlessness has to end. We don't have these type of problems. We have problems in Florida. Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of problems in Florida. But we don't have this type of problem in Florida. We don't have these radical people doing these radical things, blowing up people, throwing Molotov cocktails, because I tell you what, you pulled that shit here in one of our country towns, you're going to be drugged behind somebody's truck. I'll just put it out like that. Your carcass would be drugged behind somebody's truck. You want to come and FAFO in Florida? By all means, be my guest. I'll be there to report your death. Just saying. I'll be right there on the front line showing everybody why you don't come in Florida monkey effing around. We don't have these problems here. Or Oregon and Illinois should not have these problems here. You know where you guys always get these problems? Do you know? Raise your hand if you know where we get all these problems. We always have these problems in communities that have strict gun laws. Isn't that funny? Strict gun laws. You guys are the most unsafe. Every community that has the strictest gun laws are the most unsafe communities. Isn't that funny? And you guys haven't figured that out yet? Interesting. Interesting, because we don't have this shit going on in Florida. I'm just letting you know. You guys don't have to have this going on in your state either. You could force your politicians to do what's right by you. Instead of telling you guns are bad, realizing that the people that have a lot of guns, we're not dealing with shit like this. I'm just saying.
Fox 12 was on.
And we're not having to rely on our governors or our law enforcement to protect us. Just saying, because look at them. They're a hot mess express. They don't know, are they going to protect you today? Are they not going to protect you today? Right? We don't have that problem. If in Florida, if our law enforcement turned their back on their people right now, we would be able to enforce for ourselves. We are set up completely where if the Floridian residents needed to stand up and become judge, jury, and executioner, we are set up to do that. Just saying.
On scene last night as PPB officers descended from McAdam Avenue into the crowd of protesters outside Portland's ICE facility. Our cameras were rolling as PPB.
Portland police are sharing more.
Sorry, I hit the wrong. I don't know where I just went with that. Damn it. I started at the beginning.
Portland police are sharing more.
Sorry.
Also saying these kinds.
I wanted to let you guys know, as you guys were seeing these officers coming out. Look at this. Sorry, I accidentally hit something. No, where is it? The people were clapping. The people were clapping.
McAdam Avenue into the crowd of protesters outside Portland's ICE facility. Our cameras were rolling as.
So don't think all of these people out here are out here, supporting this nonsense. They're not. It's just the mainstream media is not showing you all the other people out there that are counter-protesting these protesters that are out there. People don't like this. People in Oregon don't like Antifa. They're like, even liberal women are coming out with their cars screaming at Antifa, telling them that they didn't sign up for this shit. I've seen it with my own eyes. They're done. They're done.
PPB made what they said was a targeted arrest of someone suspected of assault on Monday.
And they're only doing this for show, because we know damn well there was more than 2 people out there that should have been arrested. Yet they're doing all this for show. Oh, we arrested 2 people that we've identified as assaulters. Bullshit. There should be hundreds of arrests. Hundreds. Thank you.
Monday, Chief Bob Day said PPB made 2 arrests, 1 adult man and 1 minor, both charged with assault for allegedly beating someone on the ground with a stick at the protest.
Let me guess, not a felony, probably a misdemeanor, and let me guess, they went in there, got booked, and was released on their own recognizance. Probably not even there a whole entire night, beating people, and in Oregon. These people, I'm sorry, Portland police, you guys are disgusting to me. You are a disgrace to the badge. Every last one of you. There is no good officer in Portland, Oregon. You know how I know? Because if there was any good officer in Portland, Oregon, they would have transferred. That's how I know. You guys are the disgusting, most vile pieces of shit officers I've ever seen. Every last one of you need to be fired, including your chief of police. We need a top-down investigation of your bullshit and catering to domestic terrorists. You disgusting pigs. Yes, I said that, Portland. You never hear me refer to law enforcement as pigs. You guys are freaking pigs. Disgusting pigs. And I am painting with a broad brush. That goes for the entire Portland Police Department. You're fucking pigs.
Day also saying these kinds of clashes were a major issue throughout the evening.
We know that down at the facility, there are a lot of competing points of view and a lot of differences of opinion. And last night we saw that played out more.
This man right here should be in jail and arrested. He is literally the king of Antifa, running a police department. Right here. Right here. This right here is the chief of the police department in Portland. He's got his officers kowtowing to domestic terrorists. He's having the domestic terrorists run the, traffic control. He needs to be stripped of everything. He needs to be stripped of his retirement. He needs to be stripped of his badge. He needs to have his ass publicly beat with a belt. Literally. Bend him over your knee and beat his ass with a belt in front of everybody. That's what this man needs. Obviously, his mommy and daddy didn't love him or teach him any better. Definitely didn't give him a pair of backbones, or excuse me, a pair of balls or a backbone. All right? I blame his mommy and his daddy. Okay? If he has one. I don't know. These people don't believe in family units anymore. So I don't know. I don't know. Am I being offensive? I hope so. I hope so.
In the crowd and less directed towards the issues at the facility.
Prior to police moving in and making the arrest we caught on camera, we also witnessed officers trying to defuse another confrontation between...
I thought it was safe. I mean, Governor Tampon, Kotex Tampon, tells us it's safe out there. This does not look safe, lady. Maybe you need to pull the tampons out of your ass and your ears. And maybe you will see you need help. Because we are going to be stripping federal funds from every community that cannot provide safety for their community. We're going to make sure your problem is 10 times worse if you don't want to get it better. Because that's where I'm at in this. And trust me, I guarantee I have a lot of support pulling federal funds from these places. A lot of support. So folks, if you're living in these worn, torn places in the United States, you need to stand up and speak up and accept the help. And force your politicians to accept the help. Because I'm going to tell you, we're ready to cut you off. I don't want to spend another penny in these hellholes. Not another damn penny. Your law enforcement is what's keeping you here. And who's running your law enforcement? The majority of these are in Democrat-ran areas. When are you going to pull your head out of your ass? Don't you think your safety means or is more important to you than party lines at this point? They're killing you folks. The proof's in the pudding. They won't even let the National Guards come and clean up this shit for you. That's disgusting. You guys want to sleep in this shit? Go ahead. Go ahead. I sleep just fine. I don't have bombs going off outside of my house. I don't have Molotov cocktails being thrown at my law enforcement officers. Hell, I don't have National Guards stomping through my community because my community leaders can't keep my area safe. I don't have these problems. Everybody else does. Florida doesn't. You can talk about my governor. You can talk about me. You can say how horrible us folks in Florida are. I don't care. We ain't dealing with this shit. So nana nana boo boo. Stick your head in doo-doo. Just saying. I voted for Trump. I voted for common sense. I don't know what the hell you guys voted for, but I voted for common sense, okay? All right, that's my spiel. That's the half part of our show. Now we're going to be moving on to the meat and potatoes of our show, which is Lilly and Jack Sullivan. That is the riots. I promised you guys I'd give you guys an update and everything. But we also have this thing called Right Move Broadcasting. It is our new channel that we are going to be rolling out. So I already have the show set up for today at 2. We're going to be going over some of the topics of conversation, political topics of conversation. There we go, right there. Did I put that up there? There we go, right there. And so it's already set up, so if you guys have not gone over there and subscribed to the new channel, and you guys are political, and you guys like my type of politics, you're going to want to get over there. You're going to want to get over there and sub up. And we're going to be rolling out a new show this afternoon at 2 p.m. We'll be rolling out a show. It's going to be a whole hodgepodge of just a bunch of stuff thrown together that we're going to be discussing. From I've got some clips, and the clips are pretty much about the violence going on. The funny memes. We've got a major meme war going on right now between President Trump and just about everybody on the right. And the left, right? We're putting mariachi hats and bands and everything, or sombreros and mariachi bands behind everything. And we're just having fun with it. We're just having fun with it. We're applying pressure in the most dignified, funny way possible, right? Because let's face it, we want to slap the shit out of them, okay? Throwing some sombreros and some music behind it. I think it's the easier solution. It's the more funny solution than what many of us would like to do. Okay, let's be honest. Let's just you know that the sombreros is really the bitch slap, right? I mean, when you saw that hat being slung on AOC's head, you know what we were really trying to say. I'm just saying, not playing. Before we get started and start moving into our next segment, I just want to say thank you to all the beautiful people that are supporting this channel this beautiful morning. I appreciate you. Melanie says, happy Monday. Betty, Delilah, mods, and chat. Much love to all and continue prayers for Middle E. Thank you guys so much, and family. And don't forget to hit the like button for BHB. That is correct. We have 143 people in chat right now. If you guys have not already done so, please consider hitting that like button. And Middle E, if you guys don't know who Middle E is, we have these beautiful souls, the Mr. E Crime Cast. They're the crime dogs with Mr. E, Mrs. E, and Auntie E, and we just love them. They're a part of our family. And their son, Middle E, he's had some cancer, and it's not very good. It's of the brain. And so he has undergone his second brain operation, and they're very, worried. And as many of you guys can imagine, it's very scary for a child. He's not, he's becoming a young man, but he's still very young, and he's dealing with stuff that, even us adults have a hard time dealing with. And they're watching him struggle. And so we just like to lift people up in prayer when we can. So if you guys are the prayer warriors, please don't forget to put the E family in your thoughts and prayers. They are very, very special, very, very dear to me. And I just hate to see them struggle and watch their son struggle. It's got to be horrible. Absolutely horrible. So we just want to pray for them. Robin saying, good morning to all you beautiful people. Hit that like button. You guys getting the theme here? Hit that damn like button. Betty's love machine toward the custom stir. Thank you. I'm a love machine. And Melanie also helping out with the cuss jar. Thank you. Well, I just can't grab it fast enough. Then I wouldn't all time, It's just one of those things where I just can't seem to get it right. I need to stop. Okay. So now we're getting on to the new case. Well, not a new case. It's been going on since this spring, May 2nd, 2025. We had these two beautiful siblings disappear, and we're learning a little more about this. I didn't realize we got two Daniels on the screen. So this over here is Daniel. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go this way. So right here, right above me, right here, this is Daniel, and then you guys know the one all the way to the end in the terracotta type of shirt with the American label on it, American Eagle shirt. That is also Daniel. That's Daniel Martell. This is Daniel Drunken Turkey Show Daniel. So I didn't realize we both have Daniels. Daniel. Daniel. So we got Daniel. We got the Daniel interview here. And it's been quite interesting. But it's been very eye-opening. And we're going to now we have a little more. This has really opened my eyes to a lot, because this is differing from what Daniel originally told us. And I think that's interesting. Well, it's not interesting. It's common, I expected this. I shouldn't act like I'm surprised. I'm always surprised because I want to be wrong, and I'm never wrong. Or I shouldn't say never wrong. I'm very rarely wrong when it comes to these things. Very rarely. I don't know why, but when we analyze these things, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. E. Big hugs and love to you guys. we really have a problem here, and I just don't trust the mom or the stepfather. Much like with the Sebastian Rogers case, I just don't trust them. You know, when I look at these cases and I analyze these cases and I look at all the possibilities, which we look at quite a few possibilities, and when everything comes, you know, is taken off the list and, you know, it's got a big old X over it, we're kind of forced to look at whether we want to look at it or not. And the bottom line is it's very, if you look at statistics, it's very, very uncommon. So uncommon for two siblings to disappear at the same time. Okay. The only other time that we had a similar scenario was the West boys. And then we come to find out that the West boys were not unalived at the same time. As a matter of fact, they were unalived probably a month apart from each other. And that was several months before they were reported missing. So that's what we found out, but they never disappeared together. Here we've got these children together on cameras the day before, allegedly. We definitely know that they were at school that week. So no matter how you look at these kids most likely lost their life together at the same time. So what happened? What happened? We don't know. We don't know. I do not believe the story with this new story that's coming around, but we're going to go through that. So let me get through my long little intro on this case, and then we'll go to what we've been updated so far in this interview, so you guys can be apprised, because we're not starting this interview at the beginning. This is actually a part 3, if you will, of this case. We did part 1 Saturday, part 2 Sunday, and today's part 3 Monday. And we've got, you know, a time constraint because I got to also prepare for a 2 o'clock show on our new channel, Right Move Broadcasting. So, in a quiet rural community of Lansdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia, a family's worst nightmare unfolded on the spring morning, May 2nd, 2025. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack Sullivan vanished from their home on Gerlach Road, sparking one of the most extensive searches in the province history. What started as a possible wandering incident has evolved into a mystery shrouded with speculation and unanswered questions. Today, over 5 months later, the siblings remain missing with no confirmed sightings since the day before their disappearance. Here's the factual background of what we know presented in chronological order. On May 30th, Lily, Jack, and their mother, Malehya Brooks-Murray, along with their stepfather, Daniel Martell, and their younger sister, Meadow, went to a friend's house together. The friend was Patty. Patty, they said, they were washing clothes, returning home by about 10:20 in the evening. This is when Lily was observed to have a fresh black eye. The next day, May 1st, the family was captured on surveillance footage at the Dollarama store in New Glasgow around 2:25 p.m. The children were kept home from school that day due to Lily's cough. Malehya Brooks-Murray later reported putting the kids to bed between, thank you, the real me too. I appreciate that. It says, love to my friend Betty, love and prayers and big hugs for Middle E. Thank you so much for that. Put the kids to bed between 9 and 10 p.m. Earlier in this particular interview right here, Daniel reiterates that he doesn't remember the kids being up that late, that he remembers coming in from working on the fence and not hearing the kids the rest of the evening. On the morning of May 2nd, around 6:15 a.m., Brooks-Murray notified the school that the children would be absent due to illness. Now, this is another weird situation because here in this interview that we're seeing, previously, we're not going to go back to it right now, but it was stated that, Daniel asked Daniel Martell, the stepfather, if Malehya could have gotten out of bed without his knowledge. And he's kind of bouncing back and forth. But previously, just before that, he's talking about Malehya calling these children into school sick and not knowing it, and her having to get up and leave the bed. So he's either asleep or he's not asleep. But it seems like he's interchanging when he's asleep and when he's not asleep during this entire time that he's trying to convince everybody he was dead asleep when he was not. So I wanted to clarify that now. Between 8 a.m. and 9:40 a.m., while the parents were in their bedroom with Meadow, Lily was seen entering and exiting the room several times, and Jack was heard in the kitchen. But again, we learned from Daniel Martell that when he went into the kitchen, it did not appear that any child had been in that kitchen. Nothing was moved as if it would have been had Jack been in there. Another tidbit of very interesting information. Around 8:50 a.m., Janie McKenzie, Daniel's mother, who lives on the property, heard the children playing and laughing on the backyard swing before falling back asleep. So these children are just running around. These young children that were called into school as being sick are just running around this entire house having a play day. That doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. Shortly before 10 a.m., the parents searched outside after realizing the children were gone, noting the front door was wrenched and undisturbed, suggesting they exited through the back sliding glass door. At around 10 a.m., Malehya called 911, reported the kids missing. Lily believed to be wearing a pink sweater, pink pants, and pink boots, and Jack in dinosaur boots. During the search, Martell thought he heard a child scream, but could not confirm due to an overhead helicopter. Daniel from the Drunk Turkey show did ask him about that. He did confirm he thought he did hear screams, child screams, but he walked it back and said it may have been some searchers screaming back and forth between them as well, which is a possibility. By 12:25 p.m., RCMP issued a statement initially believing the children had wandered off with no signs of abduction. An update followed at 4:55 with a vulnerable person advisory. We learned that first day, the searches never stopped. They never scaled back the searches through the night. It sounds like the RCMP worked in that dense wood and vegetation until the next day. They didn't stop searching, from what Daniel says. In the early hours of May 3rd, around 12:45, Malehya just pops out and thinks, oh my gosh, my estranged ex-husband, boyfriend, Cody Sullivan, the children's father, must have taken him to New Brunswick. Even though he hasn't seen them in 3 years and wants nothing to do with them, he had to have done it. So they visited Cody's home at 2:50 in the morning, where he denied involvement and saying he's not seen the children for 3 years. That day, searches expanded over 100 police and volunteer units using ground teams, dogs, drones, and helicopters, but not cadaver dogs. Apparently, cadaver dogs were never deployed out to that scene until recently. By May 4, 2025, the search involved 160 people, and Martell publicly urged to check borders at airports for possible abduction. The mom and the stepfather were the only ones pushing this possible abduction theory. And now Daniel Martell has changed his tune in this interview here, where it seems like he's basically throwing Malehya Brooks-Murray under the bus. On May 6, Martell reported Malehya had left to stay with families and blocked him on social media. The children's paternal grandmother, Cindy Murray, which is Malehya's mother, said that the family is praying for their return, but have been advised by police to limit media interaction. The search was scaled back, and I just want to say to law enforcement, you guys are foolish for constantly telling these people to shut their mouth and not let this case go. Look at all the evidence you could have gotten, and because you refused or you told these people to shut their mouth, you will never get it, and now this case may never be solved because of law enforcement. Law enforcement is the biggest obstructionist in most of these cases that I've ever seen, because they think they know better. And when you have a person, one single person, that thinks they know better than a collective bunch, you've got a big problem. You've got an arrogant piece of garbage working for you. There is no place for arrogance in law enforcement. Let me repeat that again. There is no place for arrogance in law enforcement, folks. There's just not. The search was scaled back on May 7th, the police stating no confirmed sightings and low chances of survival. A renewed effort on May 18th included 115 volunteers and police. By May 28th, RCMP confirmed the May 1st Dollarama sighting, but they did not clarify how they saw the children. Were the children walking? Were they observed moving, breathing? You know, all the things that we want to make sure. I mean, proof of life is proof of life, but you know, everybody saw, not everybody, law enforcement saw Madeline Soto too. They saw her deceased in the back of Stefan's car. But they did have a sighting of her. It doesn't mean that she was alive. So what kind of sighting are we dealing with here at the Dollarama? By June 11th, the investigation involved 11 RCMP units, hundreds of hours of video, 54 interviews, some with polygraphs, 488 tips, and seized items. Polygraph tests show that Daniel and Malehya were mostly truthful, but there are some questions about how law enforcement expressed their truthfulness. On June 19th, Nova Scotia offered a $150,000 reward for valuable information. On August 2025, released documents revealed pieces of a Lily's pink blanket found in one tree a kilometer away and another in a trash bag at the driveway with no scent trail. Daniel also asked Daniel Martell, the stepfather, about this previously in the interview that you're seeing here, but done yesterday. And he tried to explain it. I don't like how he explained it. He really went over and above, over-explaining. And it sounds like somebody tried to plant evidence. And it sounds like law enforcement has acknowledged that it appears that it's planted. They haven't done it publicly, but based on what Daniel Martell's saying here, it sounds like they at least did it privately. A witness reported seeing similar children approaching a woman by a tan or gold sedan on May 2nd. That information didn't come in until almost 30 days later. Over 760 tips were received. 8,000 videos were reviewed with forensic testing ongoing. The paternal grandmother called for a public inquiry citing prior child protection concerns. On September 19th, just recently, the RCMP announced the use of cadaver dogs in the search. As of October, just recently, we're only on the 6th day of October, more than 820 tips have been received, but the children remain unfound. Public sentiment has been marked by frustration and widespread speculation fueled by the lack of concrete updates from authorities. Many in online communities, including true crime enthusiasts on platforms like YouTube, like my channel, and Reddit, believe the children did not simply wander off but were met with foul play. I believe the parents are responsible for something. I'm not sure what. Possibly an accident or intentional at the home or nearby, given the dense terrain and absence of traces. Rumors swirl around the family dynamic, including the parents' estranged post-disappearance and unverified claims prior to concerns like bruises on Jack and Lily's black eye. Some family members, like paternal grandmother Belinda Gray, express doubts that children are alive and rely on true crime shows for information, which have generated tips but also spread misinformation. Discussions often highlight red flags in paternal interviews and neighbor accounts, such as vehicles heard leaving the property the night before. Overall, the public feels the case points to something suspicious rather than a simple accident, with calls for more transparency from the RCMP. But there's still hope, and you can help. The Nova Scotia government is offering $150,000 for information leading to the children's location. If you have any details, no matter how small, please contact the Northeast Nova Scotia RCMP Major Crimes Unit at 902-896-5060 or Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers, where you can report anonymously, and that's at 1-800-222-8477. The kids, what we've learned so far in this interview, let me go ahead now that I'm done with that. Let me bring you back up to speed. It sounds like Daniel, before Daniel was explaining to us and expressing to all of us that, he was the major caretaker of both Lily and Jack. That when Malehya had Meadow, she didn't really care for the kids anymore, that she kind of distanced herself, that it was Jack that Daniel that always had to go out and take the kids out to play and this, that, and the other. Those were the rumors swirling. Those were swirling from Daniel's side of the family. And now, through this interview with the Drunk Turkey Show, let me put that disclaimer back up here. I had to take it down because of the other stuff. The Drunk Turkey Show, it seems like he's walking some of that stuff back. He walked, he's basically putting a lot on Malehya. He's implying that something happened to them the day before. And it really shows, like, even he's talking about him being in her car and him parking her car in a certain area, and how law enforcement was angry with her about where her car was parked, as if she parked it in a horrible place. And he tells them that it was him that parked it there. They talk about the sliding glass door being heavy, and that it took both hands for the kids to try to shut that door. So the chances of them being able to shut it fully, in my opinion, are probably slim to none. You're talking about little kids. And so I don't like how any of this conversation is going with the Drunk Turkey Show. It's just really, not that the Drunk Turkey Show is doing a great job at asking the questions, keeping, very, low. He has the way of talking. He has the cop tone where they're just asking questions nonchalant, very, very low key, but very direct questions. And, he's hitting a lot of good stuff, and the answers that we're getting from Daniel, I don't like. They're talking about the pink blanket, and Daniel's assuring that pink blanket was not in the tree. He did confirm that there was a bus that went by, that law enforcement checked the bus, and there was no pink blanket in the tree. That means somebody went into the garbage can. Now, there's only very few people in that house and around that house. Law enforcement's not going to go in the garbage can, rip a pink blanket, and throw it in a tree. Let's be honest, right? So we know it has to be one of two or one of four people, right? Daniel, Malehya, Janie, or Daniel's brother, okay? Or Meadow, okay? One of those people had to have taken that thing, ripped it, and thrown it in the tree. So that tells me right there, just by that action, somebody is trying to throw off the investigation. If these kids had just wandered off, who would want to throw off the investigation? I don't know if you guys can hear my stomach growling. My stomach's growling really, really loud. Maybe I need to go get something to eat. Oh, good gracious. He also described there being no physical search of the 2017 white Nissan Pathfinder. The 2017 white Nissan Pathfinder is Malehya's vehicle. And he says that hers was towed by White River Towing, that he does not believe the vehicle had been searched. However, his wallet was in there, and when his wallet was returned to him, it appeared that his wallet had been searched, which was interesting. So I do believe the vehicle was searched, especially if it was law enforcement that towed it. No communication. Everything was taken. They may have searched her vehicle. He's unsure, but he never physically saw it. They said that the command center and everything was set up very quickly. There was 23 teams in a matter of an hour on the ground, that no dogs came for the first few hours, but then the dogs came. They told Daniel he could not search in the woods for a significant time, and then told him he could go back and start searching again. So he jumped the fence that led to the marsh. He was screaming through the helicopters and drones, but can't determine whether that was the kids or some volunteer. He went over a questionnaire. The nighttime search continued throughout the night on the first day, which was interesting. There was a second pink blanket and other items that did not come back as being or belonging to Lilly and or Jack. He talks about his Uncle Ron being around the corner. So I think the guy that we saw is not his dad, was actually his uncle. They showed us where the command center was set up, which was a significant distance away from the home, which was quite weird. And so that's kind of where we left off yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and back up just a little bit here. And we're going to start off here. And I think this is where they're trying to show where the command center is. Daniel had marked a few things on the map and stuff like that. So I'm going to, without further ado, get this back on track.
two and two together. I ran out to the garbage bin, and I seen that there was a hole ripped in the bag.
It's about the pink blanket.
Clearly, there was somebody who went into the garbage, or something went on with the garbage for a piece of that to be ripped out. Because usually, when you look in the garbage bin, Daniel, and you see a garbage bag, usually it doesn't have a hand-sized hole ripped in the side of it.
That's interesting. Now, the pink blanket, when they told you about it, did they show you a picture?
The piece of the blanket? No.
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 Okay, so they just told you they found a piece, and you went to the garbage bin. And
Yeah.
where in the garbage bin was the bag that had the other part of the blanket? Was it towards the top, in the middle,
there
the
was
bottom?
These were like large industrial sized garbage bags, right?
Okay.
And Mom would always yell at me, don't put so much garbage in one bag, because I would always make the bags like really heavy, right?
Okay.
And so I had the blanket was in a garbage bag, but there was another garbage bag that was inside, right? So it was like double bagged.
Interesting.
And you could see I keep wanting to say a hole that was ripped in the side from a hand that went down inside of it and pulled something out. But it looked to be like somebody put their hand in there and ripped it out. But
Now,
the blanket was still at the bottom of the bag, right? It wasn't pulled all the way out. It wasn't anything like that.
So, I mean, why would anybody do that? You guys understand where I'm coming from? Like, the kids just wandered off. Who's thinking about setting up a scene? So somebody in that house knows that these kids did not just wander off, in my opinion. And that is prevalent because of the action of going into a garbage, taking a pink blanket, ripping a portion of the pink blanket, and taking it a kilometer away and planting it. Normal people don't do that when they have a child missing. Okay? Daniel was at several places that weird things happen. We've got the pink blanket. Pink blanket came from his home. We have the lone shoe print out at the pipeline. This man is lying to us. Period. About what? I don't know. Is he lying to us about everything? I doubt it. But he's lying to us about what happened to those children, and that I do believe 100%. Because what he's saying does not make sense. Folks, it just doesn't.
So
was the trash bag in the bottom of the can or on top of like all the other trash?
It was the garbage bag, that one big garbage bag. That was like a 60-pound garbage bag. And it was that was the only bag that was in there.
Oh, okay.
So who put that bag in there? Where did that bag come from? Why was that big bag, that 60-gallon bag, why was it thrown in the garbage with bedding? That's awfully suspicious to me. Is it not suspicious to any of you that children are disappearing in a bedding? A 60-gallon bag of bedding is pitched? And somebody reaches in the bottom and tears a huge piece, a chunk off that stuff and throws it in a tree a kilometer away? Told you this thing, it smelled all types of staged when we walked away from it earlier. All types of stage. This is only corroborating staging, in my opinion.
So there wasn't any other trash on top?
No, there was nothing else piled on top of it or underneath it.
So if somebody opened the bin, that's the first thing that they would see?
Yeah, they would be able to see the pink blanket in there, yeah.
Okay. And so
but who would do that? Who was at the house? Let's talk about who was at the house. So this was going from the second into the third. Okay? The second into the third. Now remember who disappeared on the third? Malehya Brooks-Murray. Right? She took off. She took off that afternoon when they were doing the briefing. She walked out of the briefing. So we have all these weird circumstances going on. We have a lone boot print out at the pipeline. And then, lo and behold, magically, a portion of a blanket that was in their garbage can was ripped out and strategically placed a kilometer away from the house in the opposite direction. I feel like that was pulling people away. And if you notice, it's in the opposite direction of what? The command center. Very interesting. Very interesting. But we have to ask ourselves, many people will try to confuse you about it. We have to ask ourselves, one, who would benefit from this case not being solved? Probably the assailant. Okay? The assailant would be the only person that would benefit from this case not being solved. The assailant. And in order for it to be an assailant, that means there has to be a crime. Why would anybody plant evidence in a tree when you have a missing child or children or person? It's to throw the case off. Why would somebody want to throw the case off if children are just missing and wandered off? And who would want to do that? You think Cheryl's going to be ripping the bag and going and planting evidence? What about Logan? What would their motive be for that? There is none. The only person that would be trying to throw law enforcement off are the people that did something. So now we're back at that house and the 4 adults in that house. Malehya Brooks-Murray, Daniel Martell, Daniel's brother, and his mother. And let's not forget, his family lives less than a mile away in rundown, dilapidated trailers themselves. So he has a lot of people that can help him cover up stuff out there. And we already know his mother is willing to lie for him.
It seems like in the documents that it alludes that they showed you guys a picture and that you guys confirmed it. Was that, if you didn't see a picture, do you know if Malehya did?
I'm not sure if she did or not. I have no idea. Because I actually wasn't present at the house very much during the search because I was just out in the woods searching, man.
Understood.
Yeah,
I poured my heart and soul into just search.
Where all the weird evidence just can't miraculously kept popping up. Just to throw that out there. Because Malehya was home, and that's what I tried to explain to my people when we were covering this case early on. Wait a minute. Who's the only person moving about? Daniel. Okay? Malehya's not moving about. She's staying home with Meadow. It's Daniel out by the pipeline. It's Daniel that has access to, he's the one that had access to the vehicle. He was the one driving the vehicle. He acknowledged earlier in this interview that he was the one driving the 2017 white Nissan Pathfinder.
Searching as hard as I could.
I can imagine. And you're out there searching. Did you find out that night, or was it the next day, about the boot prints?
I actually found out, I think it was the next day. And then when I asked investigators when the boot print was found, they told me they weren't sure on the exact time it was found, but they thought it was found during the middle of the night. Okay.
And I know, and I made a mistake, guys, and I want to premise this as was my mistake. I had indicated that this image here was a representation of what they had seen with the bare feet and the footprints. I went back and read my conversation with Daniel, so I just wanted to clarify it. What he said was that this picture, he had problems with it because he couldn't understand why a third person came, but this wasn't something that was shown to him by investigators. Kind of clarify, where did this image come from?
That image originally came from Maritime Happenings. Mom actually received it from Malehya. So Malehya sent it to my mother, and the mom and my brother came home on the ATV from their search, from where they were searching, to talk to Malehya, see what this photo was about. But it was actually Maritime Happening, which originally posted it, and that came from one of the searchers, I guess.
Understood. So it wasn't something that you saw from the investigators or from the search?
No, it wasn't anything like that.
Did they ever tell you that there was 3 prints?
I don't actually remember that, but that picture always just bugged me. And
3 prints. Let's go back to that. They're saying possibly 3 prints: tennis shoe, a shoe, and bare feet. Hold on, let's read the entire. It says, just got a text from a member on the scene of the children's search. A police dog handler has located a very distinctive set of youth footprints on the natural gas. Youth. These are not youth. These would be, in my opinion, toddlers. Maybe not toddlers, but definitely not youth. I mean, they're under 6 years old. What is that? I mean, that's a child. It's a kid. It's not youth. I don't consider youth until you're like, 8 or older. So anyways, let's just keep listening.
Like that.
Did they ever tell you that there was 3 prints?
I don't actually remember that, but that picture always just bugged me. And then even if they did tell me there was 3 prints, like that doesn't make sense to me, Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, when 2 kids are missing, they don't gain a follower to go missing with.
Right. And here, just to kind of show everybody, this is where the image came from. This is Malehya Brooks, and this was at 10:16 in the morning on May 3rd from Malehya to your mom. Your mom sent me this photo.
Okay, so May 16th, so that was sent to her. But I don't think it seems like the images on here just seem like I think people are mistaken it. They're talking about, when I read it, it's talking about the footprints from the people, but it looks like they used some clip art to draw attention in, not necessarily that there's 3 footprints, because that's not what the message said. The message said, distinctive youth footprints. But it didn't say 3 sets. I think this is just some type of clip art that they used, because otherwise they would have taken a picture of the scene and showed all 3 of them, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
So that we could see that this is where that message came from. Now, the location of the boot prints, it's near the pipeline, kind of somewhat in the direction of the pink blanket. If we I wanted to show you this and get your opinion on this. So the blanket was found here. There's a road that leads back up. Now I kind of just did a line here, but if you follow this road and you just follow this little path here, it gets you on the pipeline. I mean, sure enough, you're right in the middle between that road that they mentioned. Have you gone down this area yourself throughout any point?
No, I haven't.
Interesting.
I haven't done any of that area at that point.
At any point? What about now? Like since they found the boot print and stuff like that? Have you ever gone out here? Okay.
No.
Now,
I thought that's a lot of that area was just searched with the human remains dog. So all that was just done.
The other weird thing about this though is this is a dirt road, correct?
Where the piece of the Blanca was found?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually called the Gordon Summit Road. That actually used to be an actual road that was used quite a bit, but now over the years it was just used for, they used it for logging. There's cutovers up there and stuff like that.
They didn't find any footprints around here, right? Where the blanket
No,
was?
not that I'm aware of, and that's all fresh gravel.
Yeah,
That's all fresh gravel. That whole Lansdowne Road was totally redone. It's all fresh gravel. You would see any footprints that were put on there at that time.
So the second day comes, they tell you about the prints on about the boot prints. What do you think about those boot prints? Who do you think they belong to?
I couldn't tell you. There's a lot of kids in the area. That's what I kind of think where they came from. But to find only one boot print, the kids would have had to walk up that hill, and there's a ton of mud there, Daniel. I mean, the incline of that hill and that terrain is not easy for children. Just to walk up from the road to that pipeline would have probably taken over an hour. And by that time, the helicopters would have seen them if they were in the woods.
My only problem with that is if there's mud there and it's muddy, if somebody went out there and planted them, where are their footprints?
Exactly.
That is correct, too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the main portion of the mud is actually on the actual 4-wheeler trail that's on the pipeline. All the rest of the pipeline, for 90% of it, it's all just moss. And
how could they hide their footprint? Maybe because they were on an ATV. Interesting. Let them talk. They will answer the questions. So we have ATVs. So why is there no footprints? Because there's ATV trails. Was there tire impressions on the ATV trails? I bet you there were. Were there tire impressions on that newly graveled road? I bet you there were. Do we see these lazy goons walking anywhere out here? Probably not.
Is actually on the actual four-wheeler trail that's on the pipeline. All the rest of the pipeline, for 90% of it, it's all just moss and moss and just, what I mean, grass, or a marshy type grass. But still, if you're walking along that, your footprints would have left indentations in the grass.
Yeah. I would have thought so. I mean, especially if it's an adult.
Unless you're on an ATV. Unless you're on an ATV. Then you're leaving wheel marks. Let's change the conversation to wheel marks. Daniel, if you have an opportunity to speak to him again, find out about the tire marks. What kind of tire marks were present?
That's going out there, that's heavier than these kids.
Yeah.
You would assume that they would have left some indentions as well. Now, this says here that a police dog handler located the set of footprints. Do you know if that's true? Like, how did they come across the footprints, in your opinion?
I actually heard the footprints were actually found in the middle of the night, and they actually had an untrained bloodhound up in that area. I'm not sure if that's what they're referring to by police dog handler or not, because there were so many dogs out there.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so when is the first?
But they did tell me they exhausted that whole area. They sent so many searchers in. They sent the dogs in. They exhausted that area for multiple days.
That means there was probably no scent.
And I know a lot of people might say, "Oh, well, this is going to your uncle's house. Maybe you planted them."
Ooh, going to the uncle's house. Going to the uncle's house. So toward Ron's house. So the footprints. I'm gonna write this down. Footprints and pink blanket were found like going towards uncle's house. Interesting.
I find it weird. I don't understand why somebody would plant evidence that's leading to the direction of a.
I've never actually seen the actual location of the footprint in real life.
Yeah.
So I told investigators this, and I've
even when he's talking about it, I don't like Daniel's expression on his face as he's talking about it. He's not serious. He looks goofy. I don't know. No scent was found with Sebastian too. These parents know. Yeah, Fedora. Absolutely. Hey, Ben, it's nice to see you. ATV, she said it on her Facebook interview. Yep, sure did. So we're getting something. They're playing us for fools. I feel like they know what they did, and I think it's coming little by slow. I think it's coming out. But this interview for me is not supporting Daniel's statements. It just isn't. He thinks it is, but we're very keen to the details of this case, and this is Daniel Drunk Turkey showed Daniel's doing a great job, so kudos to him.
never seen the actual blanket hanging in the tree. I've never seen that.
Gotcha.
So
wait a minute.
So when is
I don't believe that either, because Cheryl said she brought a photo back to show them all. That was on, I remember Cheryl saying that she found the pink blanket. She's the one that looked at it. She's the one that took a picture of it. So Malehya's family's the one, our friends are the ones that located the pink blanket. And then the pink blanket, now you heard Daniel saying it was in a 60-pound bag. It looked like that somebody put their hands in there, pulled a piece out, blah, 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 blah. Who would have known that there was a pink blanket in that bag except the person that put the pink blanket in that bag and put it in the garbage can. I don't think anybody else would have known it was there. Okay? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But you know what? There was the argument between Cheryl and Logan on the Crime and Shame, or whatever that channel is called, Sunny's channel. And they were arguing about where the blanket was. Was it in the garbage can? They were trying to say, no, it was all the way in the bottom of the garbage can. And somebody was saying, no, it wasn't. It was laying on the armrest of the walking up, whatever the rest, I can't think of it. When you walk upstairs, you have your railing. Okay, there it is. The railing. It was on the railing, this pink blanket. That's what they were arguing about. Cheryl and Logan were on it to Crime and Shame, arguing about where the location of this pink blanket is. And yeah, the rail. Thank you, Ben. And Daniel now is on here saying that it was in a bag, a 60-gallon bag, and it was the only bag in the garbage can. Who in the hell would have known that a pink blanket is in that garbage bag to reach in there with one single stroke, grab it, rip it out, pull it out, and go place it in a freaking tree a mile away? Think about the action. Now you have to play the tape through. The only person that would have known that pink blanket was in that garbage can or in that trash bag or the location in that trash bag would have been the person that put it in that trash bag. So now the question needs to be, who put that blanket in that trash bag? Because that is most likely who put their fingers or their hands through it to rip a piece out. So I'm curious to find out who it was, because nobody else would have known it was there. Nobody. Let me ask you, what did I throw in my garbage this morning? Raise your hand if you know what I threw in my garbage can this morning. Raise your hand. Who knows what I threw in my garbage this morning? I bet you not one person that is not inside this home knows what I threw in my garbage this morning. I guarantee if I take a plastic bag and go and wrap it up and throw it in my garbage, I bet you nobody would know what is in that bag to reach. Do you think you're going to go reach in my garbage can into just a trash bag and put a hole in the trash bag and stick your hands through it, not knowing what's in the trash bag? I do coffee grounds. But see, Frank, you would be wrong. You'd be wrong. I did not throw the coffee grounds in this, because I have a cone filter, and my cone filter can hold 2 days worth of coffee before I throw it out, because I stick coffee on top of coffee, because I like every ounce of caffeine out of my coffee grounds. So you're wrong. I didn't throw coffee away. Now, tomorrow when I make coffee, you'll be absolutely correct. The only thing I've thrown away this morning is an empty bottle of water. That's why. An empty bottle of water. I didn't even throw my empty bag of chocolate away. It's on the floor in my bedroom. I threw it off the bed like a slob. And it is. And I walked over it too. I did. I saw it on the floor, and I stepped on it, and I'm like, I'll pick it up later. I am so lazy. I'm so lazy this morning. I really am. I will go in there and pick it up, because it's on my side of the bed. So it has to be picked up, but I did walk over it, okay? But, so the only thing that went into my garbage can this morning is an empty bottle of water. And it looked like this, if you really have to know. It looked just like this bottle of water right here, okay? So, the secret's out of the bag, okay? But who would have known that? There's not one person that would have known what is in my garbage bag. But who? Me. Me! Now, granted, I don't live with people, so I have to incorporate now that it's whoever packed the bag or whoever threw the bag out. Who was the one that threw that bag in that garbage can? Was it Daniel or was it Malehya? Who put the the bedding in the bag? Was it Daniel or Malehya? Whoever it was, one of them knew that that pink blanket was in that bag. And they didn't talk about the bag being ripped open. He said something very, very, very specific. He said there was a hole the size of somebody putting their hand through the bag and ripping the piece off and pulling the hand. They didn't rip the bag apart. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Play the tape through, folks. That tells you whoever was in that bag knew exactly what was in that bag and where it was. That is not some stranger. That's not a cousin that just came over and you tell them, hey, you know, I've got this. They would have still ripped the bag wide open. This is one hole he specifically said was the size of somebody's hand going through dirty. Exactly. They have a brand new baby there. Great point. Brand new baby. Who would reach their hands in a 60, because you know those 60-pound garbage bags are black. You can't see through them. And they're thick. So who would have reached their hand in that bag? Only one or two people. The people that knew what was in that bag would be the only people that would stick their hands in a black plastic bag, one shot, one hole, knew right where the blanket was to put their hand in there, pull it out, and go plant that pink blanket. So that tells me it was either Daniel or Malehya. It wasn't even in their friends or family, because if it was the friends or family, they would have ripped the bag further than what they did. No? Yeah, heavy-duty garbage bag, 60 gallons. Yep, you're right. You are right. I think I got some right here because you guys bought me a pair when I had the hurricane. And I had to clean up this yard. Somebody sent me a package of construction bags, which I think are the only way you can get those 60 gallons. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they're construction bags. So now that we've analyzed that, I call bull crap. That doesn't make sense. Daniel, Drunk Turkey Show Daniel, is picking up on that. Like, you know, who would be planning this stuff like that? Something's not right. Either Malehya's setting Daniel up or Daniel's setting Malehya up. That's the way I'm looking at this point.
So the next day comes, searchers are out there. How long are searchers in the area searching for Jack and Lily?
For the first initial search, I think it was like 6 or 7 days. I'd have to look at all the actual how many days they were here for, but it was 6 or 7 for the first initial search, and then they came back the next weekend and they did that search as well. And that doesn't include when the dive teams came in. I talked with those guys after they were done finishing Lansdowne Lake and some of the ponds and the streams, and they assured me that there was no evidence that the kids were near any water.
I don't like when people start using that. They assured me there was no evidence that the kids were by water. I don't like when they start using those words. You know that.
That doesn't include when the dive teams came in. I talked with those guys after they were done finishing Lansdowne Lake and some of the ponds and the streams, and they assured me that there was no evidence that the kids were near any water.
Interesting. And your property, I know it was recently searched with the cadaver dogs.
Yeah.
How many times has it been searched by the search team and the dogs, whether it was the first time they were out there or second, third? How many times?
The amount of times the property was searched was, I can't even put a number on it, Daniel, because it was constantly new people coming in and walking through the property. Like for the whole time, there was just new people coming in. I mean, there's the amount of ribbons I see around. It's in the thousands in Lansdowne.
Gotcha. And so they're coming in, they're searching the property. How long before you're brought into a police station?
I was brought in. I don't remember what day I was brought in because all the days mashed together. Mm-hmm. But I was brought in by 2 investigators that were originally on the case.
Okay.
And I haven't seen those guys in
you never answered the question.
A while now. We'll say that.
How long?
But those 2 original guys took me in, and we went into the Stellarton detachment, which is in Pictou County, not the major crimes headquarters that's in Bible Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But I sat in a room with them, and you know they they bought me some food and some coffee, which we know why that was for, right? Collecting.
Okay. See, we know what that was for. He's answering questions that he's not being asked here. He was asked how long, in conjunction, from the time the children were reported missing to the time he went into interrogation, how long was that? Okay, that's what his original question was. And you're hearing Daniel not answer the question, but go on all of this stuff about what he thinks he's wanting him to tell him. And I don't like that. Let's go back. I'm going to go back a few.
There. But I was brought in by 2 investigators that were originally on
property. How long before you're brought into a police station?
So what he's trying to gauge here. This is my understanding. Now, I'm not Daniel. I can't tell you what Drunk Turkey Show's trying to, but it sounds to me what he's asking is from the time that law enforcement got to the property, how long from the time they got to the property did they take Daniel in for interrogation? He's asking this very specific question because it's telling you he's trying to figure out what law enforcement was thinking at the time. You see? Because what happens is if it took them several days, then they believed the story. Something changed after that several days. If they took him in, like they were reported on the 2nd and he's brought into Pictou County on the 4th, the 3rd or the 4th for this interrogation, then they ain't buying the story. So I think that's what Drunk Turkey Show's trying to find out is how long did it take from the time law enforcement got to the scene of this missing child to the time they started interrogating the parents at their shop, at the brick and mortar police station, a full interrogation, bringing you into their territory. When did that happen? And he's not answering that question. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate that. So let's listen to what his extended
I
answer
was brought
is.
in. I don't remember what day I was brought in because all the days mashed together. But
how many days? 1 day, 2 days? Did it seem like a week? But he's giving the very cavalier answer of I don't know.
I was brought in by 2 investigators that were originally on the case.
Okay.
And I haven't seen those guys in a while now. We'll say that.
Yeah.
But those 2 original guys took me in, and we went into the Stellarton detachment, which is in Pictou County, not the major crimes headquarters that's in Bible Hill. But I sat in the room with them, and they bought me some food and some coffee, which we know why that was for, right?
I disagree with what that was for. They were probably doing that because he would have been willing to give them his DNA, so they don't need to do sneaky stuff with him.
Collect DNA.
I don't believe that.
And they never had to ask me for any of that. I was willing to give them everything.
Exactly my point.
Right. But,
so that's why I don't believe, sometimes people, when you go to law enforcement, especially when you've been running, you've seen the person out all day long, you haven't seen them eat, you do that to warm up to them. You do that to show them it has nothing to do with DNA. It has everything to do with bonding that relationship so you can start interrogating them. You need to break down the walls. You need to make them know that you're their friend. You're there to help them. And, whatever they're going through, you're there to help them. And so that's what I truly believe they're doing here. It's crazy that he's thinking in his mind that they're doing this for DNA purposes, which I don't believe, because I know a lot of parents, especially when you're calling it, you can get just about anything, because even if they're guilty, they're going to want to appear to be like they're cooperating. So can we get your DNA test? Yes, here, sign this form. Let me do a swab real quick. Done. I think the whole food thing was an icebreaker, if you will. Okay, an icebreaker. Yeah, paranoid through drugs. Yeah, something like that. He's too paranoid on this. I don't believe it's that. I think this was more of a tactic to break down the wall. The icebreaker.
Yeah, we ran over the timeline the 2 days prior, and I drew them a map of everywhere I went during the search. And also we just talked about everything that led up to where I was that day, sitting down talking to them.
And this after that you and Malehya were no longer in communication?
Yeah, this was after that. Yeah.
Okay. And so
we now know that it was after the 3rd, so he doesn't know when. See, I like this. I've never really watched the Drunk Turkey show. I will be honest with you. I don't watch, because it's called the Drunk Turkey show. To me, when I saw the name, I honestly thought it was a bunch of, frat boys that get drunk and talk about true crime and probably knuckleheads, right? That's what my opinion of the name. And seeing the guy with the glasses, the hat turned out backwards, it looks like it looks like the frat party. Okay, it looks like the what do they call it, the jocks, right? The jocks. 100% not a great title. Yeah. So I don't take him seriously. This is the first time I actually watched him, and he's interrogating this. I want to say interrogating. He's interviewing Daniel very well. I like his style. This is my first opportunity to see him like this. Again, the few times I've tuned in, it was a little bit of a wild show, and it wasn't. It wasn't my cup of tea. I'll be honest with you. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But this right here, this is very, I like this. He's staying calm. He's asking the questions. He's allowing the guy to answer. He's not really challenging him on a whole bunch right here. He's just getting everything on the record. And I kind of like that. I kind of like this strategy he's using.
Longer in communication.
Yeah, this was after that. Yeah.
Okay. And so, did you drive in there on your own? Did they pick you up?
No, they actually drove. Whenever they needed me, they actually came and got me.
Got you.
Because they wanted to know for 100% that I was coming or not, or.
Oh, so they were kind of worried. So when they needed to interrogate him, they picked him up. That's interesting. That means they don't trust him. Not everybody's treated like that. I just want to throw that out there.
So they always came and got me. Like I was with them every day for the first, quite a few days. Like I seen them every day. That wasn't my first interrogation though. I wasn't sitting in the Stellarton dispatch or Stellarton department. That was my very first actual audio recording with them. Was the second day of the search before Malehya left.
Second day of search before Malehya left. So they started on the 2nd. That's when they called them that morning. So the 3rd, we know that Malehya left by, I think it was 4 something in the afternoon on the 3rd is when Malehya left. But they interrogated him prior to her leaving. Let's listen to that one more time.
Sitting in the Stellarton dispatch or Stellarton department. That was my very first actual audio recording with them. Was the second day of the search before Malehya left.
Wow, that is a key. That's critical right there. Why did Malehya leave? Because they didn't believe their story. Because they took him to a detachment before she left. That means they most likely took her to a detachment before she took off. So something happened. Remember, I told you something spooked her. Because she would have never ran off if something didn't spook her. And we couldn't figure out what spooked her. Because, this was the day, the 3rd was the day that law enforcement basically tells us that they don't believe the kids are alive. So we thought maybe that had spooked her, but that doesn't explain why mommy never came back to the area again. Because mommy still wants to find, every woman I know, whether that she's been told her children are deceased or not, they want to see it for themselves. As disturbing as that is, no parent believes it until they see it, period. They just don't. And so for her not to come back, for her not to demand seeing her children deceased, for her not, it didn't sit right with me. It just didn't sit right. And now we're finding out now from Daniel Martell that they were taken to detachments and interrogated on May 3rd. That means they did not believe their story at all. Just my opinion. Mike says, Daniel said he was up past midnight but crashed the next night in front of everyone. The next day the kids went missing. Wish creators pinned him down on those hours. What did you do, Daniel? Exactly. Good point. Good point.
I actually sat in with major crimes officers and we recorded everything that I did and everything I knew so far up there. I mean, up until they were talking to me.
And
So we actually, during the interrogation at the Stellarton Dispatch, we actually went over a lot of the stuff we already did, just so they could cross-reference, right?
And how long were you out there for at the dispatch?
What was that?
How long did that interview take? Was it a couple of hours?
The original one, sitting in the major crimes van with them, that was about 45 minutes to an hour. And then, but the actual interrogation, if you want to call it, at the Stellarton Dispatch, that one was almost 4 hours.
Jeez, that's extensive. And
wow.
So you walk in there, they're asking you some questions for 4 hours. Do they ever get accusatory?
No, not at all. I was completely cooperative with them. And I said, like, yeah, we're going to come and get your phone in a few days. Do you want to sign a waiver? And I said, no, I don't even need to sign a waiver. And I threw in my phone. So,
So when did they pick up your phone? Was it that day?
No, it wasn't that day. It was actually a few days after.
Okay. And how long did they have your phone for?
They had my phone for about a week. And they actually gave me a loaner phone to use while they had my phone. And then they brought my phone back and they
I saw drunk. When I heard that, I went to go to turn my head, and I saw the smile on Daniel's face for the drunk turkey show, and he knew exactly, because you know why they gave him the loaner phone. The loaner phone was definitely, I guarantee, they had that one. You know, they were listening. They were listening. They were monitoring. We've seen this before. That's why when I looked up and I saw, I want to see this. I want to see Daniel's face when he says that he even got a loaner phone. Let's just watch this. You'll see it. You'll see him come to life. Like, we all know. We all know. Daniel was worried about them buying his food for DNA, which that's not the reason why they were buying him food. But they totally missed the reason why he was given a loaner phone.
Come and get your phone in a few days. Do you want to sign a waiver? And I said, no, I don't even need to sign a waiver. And I threw in my phone.
So when did they pick up your phone? Was it that day?
No, it wasn't that day. It was actually a few days after.
Okay. And how long did they have your phone for?
They had my phone for about a week. And they actually gave me a loaner phone to use while they had my phone. And then they brought my phone back and they realized my little SIM card holder wasn't inside the phone. So they said, oh, I guess we're going to have to go back and get that from the tech guys. So I used the phone for an extra few days while they retrieved my little SIM card holder.
SIM card.
Interesting. And so they had your phone?
I don't know if that was all planned or not, Daniel.
He said now he's looking back like maybe it was planned. Yeah, they were monitoring you, bro. They sure the hell were, because that's the first time I heard of a loaner phone program. But hey, what does Betty know? What does Betty know?
Well, I'm sure they were listening into the things you were saying on that phone.
I'm sure they were too.
Yeah. Well, they were free to listen, Daniel. Nothing was going on.
And so you get your phone back. I'm understanding that they went through your text.
I keep wondering, did the phone work a little better inside the residence and outside the residence than it did before? Did they go on the satellite bandwidth for Daniel? I bet you SIM card gives locations allegedly. They knew exactly where this punk was.
Messages, your bank accounts, your locations. What else were they able to access from your phone?
Oh, they got access to everything, Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably looked. I mean, they had it for over a week, so they could have just looked through everything.
And did they have any questions referencing what they looked through with the phone after they gave it back?
No, they didn't. I didn't question them on it, and they didn't question me.
Interesting. I would think anybody would have questions. You know, maybe they chose not to ask the questions because they were scared it might lead to the direction of what they were potentially looking for, maybe? I don't know.
They said, here's your phone back. Everything's good.
And how long was it between the time that they gave you your phone back and the time that you took the polygraph test?
Good question.
I may have taken the polygraph exam when they had my phone.
Oh, okay.
I don't quite remember that. It's hard for me to remember all because usually I'm not pulling up date to date, right? So
with that, I know you said that, hey, I'm willing to take a polygraph test. I'll answer your questions. how long from that time that she said, "Hey, I'll do it"? How long was it before you actually sat there in front of the polygraph test?
I'm guessing probably a week, but it felt like longer than that, Daniel. Every day was so long.
I can imagine. Now, kind of transitioning to that polygraph, you go in. Did they give you the questions they were going to ask beforehand?
Yeah, they actually did give us the questions ahead of time. There was actually 5 questions. I don't know why.
So they gave them questions prior to. Now, this is the second time we've heard about these questions being given to the people prior to. So, polygraph questions. Hold on. Questions provided prior to administration. I'm writing this down because this is going to be another thing that I'm going to be looking at with these polygraphs. Handing them the questions prior to versus not, if we ever can get a. Anyway,
It says in the documents it was 4. There was actually 5 questions they wanted to ask, and then they would throw in questions that they knew that were that you couldn't lie on, right? Like, have you ever lost your temper? Obviously, everybody has lost their temper before, so you can't. And then, but you're going to say that you never lost your temper before, and then they know that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
So they could find your baseline on that. But all my questions centered around the death of the children. Are you an accessory to killing Lilly and Jack? Did you murder Lilly and Jack? That's all the questions were based on that.
Well, those are 2. What are the other 3?
What they did was just reword the questions, differently, right?
Did they ask you, like, do you know where they're at?
No.
Interesting.
Huh. That's
No, they're just all on murder or accessory to murder. Do you know anything on the murders of Lilly and Jack?
See, now granted, I'm not a polygraph administrator. Okay, I'm not an expert in the field of polygraph administration we're taking. But I can tell you everything that I know that does not sound right. They should have been asking about the location. They should have been asking about whether the kids were hurt or harmed, not dead. Not just dead, rather. It seems to me that this, now that Daniel's getting into this with the stepfather, there are a few things that I'm definitely questioning related to this polygraph taking and whether the people were proper in doing the polygraph.
Are you accessory to killing Lilly and Jack? Did you murder Lilly and Jack? It's just the same questions, but just the orientation of the wording was just changed.
Understood.
See,
and
they did something very, very, very dangerous. And I told you guys this. They cannot put Lilly and Jack together, folks. They can't put Lilly and Jack together on these questions. Did you murder Lilly? Did you murder Jack? You cannot ask them in a polygraph, did you murder Lilly and Jack? It's an improper question. What happens if Daniel murdered one and Malehya murdered the other? If they asked with both of the children in the same question, they screwed up the polygraph test. I will tell you that. I'm not a professional, but I know for a fact they cannot put both of these kids in the same question. And if they did, then they screwed up the polygraph test. And that's not even including the fact that they haven't even asked about the location. Which was I'm dumbfounded that they would not ask about the location.
But I didn't want questions like that. I said, let's do another polygraph, and that's have all the questions on disappearance. And I want everybody else polygraph the exact same way.
So you suspect that they didn't ask Malehya about the disappearance aspect?
No, they wanted to rule out death as quick as possible. because that would narrow everything down. Because if they knew that the children were deceased, that would completely narrow it down. They wouldn't have to ask them this on the disappearance.
Yeah.
So you take the polygraph test. Is there any like questioning?
I knew there was something I didn't like about how they explained it. They said that Malehya was truthful when asked very direct questions. Well, they're all supposed to be direct questions. So I don't know what they were talking about that. So there's something not right here, and I'm gonna have to say at this point I believe it's the test administrator that fouled this up.
After the polygraph?
No, I actually did 3 polygraphs back to back. It took a total of 3 hours I was there for.
Oh, really? 3
Yeah.
And it was the same questions over
The
and over
same
again?
questions over and over and over. And then they showed me a piece of paper at the end, and it said, like, it showed you like all the stuff on the polygraph, and I passed.
That's crazy.
And then after that, I was taken into a separate room, and where I sat with major crimes officers, and we just talked.
And that conversation, what was the basis of it?
Oh, the conversation after the polygraph?
Yeah.
Just chatting with a couple of major crimes officers.
Wasn't about the case in specific?
No, it wasn't about the case at all.
All right. And so, the polygraph test is over. You walk out. How is communication with law enforcement after that?
It definitely improved, but they weren't really hard on me at all, even from the start, because I was so cooperative. You know what I mean? There was a lot of inside jokes, and it was a different experience than I think most people would think of.
I think we need to stop there. I think we need to stop there for today. This is going to be very interesting going into part 4. We're starting to get into the polygraph questions. I can tell you from my personal purview, the polygraph was administered improperly. Sorry. It just on the face of this, it was administered improperly. If let me put the caveat on there, if they commingled Lilly and Jack together in the questioning. Because there is no proof that they disappeared at the same time or by the same exact thing, and for them to do that is in my purview about practice. I would have never put the kids together on the questioning. Did you murder Jack? Did you murder Lilly? Did you disappear Jack? Did you disappear Lilly? Do you know the location of Jack? Do you know the location of Lilly? You never commingle. What if they're both in different locations? These people, it's a very, very skilled craft about these polygraphs. The reason why they're inadmissible is because they are not accurate. Why are they not accurate? Because there's a lot of things that make them inaccurate, including the administrator. I think they need to be retested. I think they need to be retested separately on Lilly and separately on Jack. And I think that they need to be asked locations as well as disappearances and other people in the family. Just my opinion. So what we have learned is that it appears that Daniel is pushing off a lot of stuff onto Malehya. He's giving himself a pat on the back, saying he was ultra cooperative. Law enforcement didn't need to ask him for anything, yet they were setting him up the entire time, buying him food for DNA. Letting them use the phone to record their conversations or listen in on their conversations. All this other stuff. I don't know. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. I do question I was very hopeful for the RCMP, but I'm starting to see breaks in their ability to do a great investigation. I don't like the fact that they did not push the parents harder at the beginning, especially with this not being... things not adding up at the beginning. It's much like Sebastian Rogers. You just got ignorant investigators, and they're offended by being called ignorant instead of just becoming better at their job. Now, I'm not saying fully that the RCMP is completely ignorant, but I'm listening to how these polygraph tests takes our questions that are being asked. And I from my experience and my knowledge of polygraph tests, that is very clear that this was not done properly. I've always talked to you and told you you cannot co-mingle questions. That has been drilled into my head. You cannot co-mingle questions. They have to be very singular questions. Okay? Did you murder Lily? Did you murder Jack? Not, did you murder Lily and Jack? Because what happens if Jack died because of an accident, and because of that accident you thought you were going to be in trouble and you murdered Lily? You see where I'm going with this? This is why you cannot ask these questions together. It's exactly why you cannot ask these questions together. They got to be separated. They got to be separate. Quit commingling the questions. It's the worst thing you can do in a polygraph, and I think they pissed all over the polygraphs. Now that I heard Daniel in his own words, in his own voice, say how the polygraph was taken, I don't have a problem with the questions being provided or them seeing the questions. It's not it doesn't really matter whether it's an open book test or not, because it's about whether it's the truth or not, right? There should be no reason for them to be nervous if they see the questions. So I think that takes that away as well. Hey, Nadine, it's nice to see you, love. But my big problem is, are these polygraph tests accurate? And the answer for me today is no. I don't believe they are, and I don't believe that they administered them properly. I had a problem with the fact that they had to fly a test taker in to administer them, and that always worried me because it tells me that there's not enough people in their country with the skills necessary to do a proper polygraph test. The fact that they had such a hard time getting, dogs and stuff in, we got to look at that. That doesn't seem very professional to me. So maybe what we were hopeful as a very professional investigation may not be as professional as we once thought it was. I've got a problem with the polygraph test, I can tell you that. Not that it makes a hill of beans, right? I'm just Bullhorn Betty, an average Joe that has a platform that follows true crime and researches a lot of stuff. And I'm telling you, if this test was taken as Daniel is saying it was taken, it was done improperly. I can't tell you anything more than that. It was done improperly. If they commingled and they asked them, did they cause the death of the children of Lily and Jack, the test was taken wrong. It was done wrong. I can tell you that without a question in my mind. It was done wrong. So we'll see what comes of this. But them not even speaking about location, moving. I don't know. That kind of made me lose a little steam for the RCMP. So we'll continue to go down this road. Please do not forget, guys, we do have our Right Move broadcasting. This is where we will be at 2 o'clock today to go over some stuff. It's been quite an interesting feat, to say the least, to figure out how to work with two different channels on OBS. So I'm learning things as I go in bite-sized pieces. And what I'm learning right now is that it's very difficult to run two channels on OBS, but we'll get through it. I'll find an easier path forward. Not sure how, but we will find an easier path forward when it comes to the new channel. But get over there, 2 p.m. today. We're going to be going over some, this is going to be like our first official show in the studio. On the new channel, Right Move Broadcasting. And this is our political channel where we talk about politics. I am a conservative, obviously a right side conservative person. And I am going to be speaking from an average Joe perspective from a conservative movement. If you are a liberal, if you are a white woman and you are a liberal, you are not going to want to join this channel, okay? If you know anything about me, I'm thankful that you're here for true crime, but I cannot stand a white liberal woman. I am very racist when it comes to white liberal women. It is really the only racism that I truly have in my bone, but it is a very strong racist vibe I've got when it comes to white liberal women. So if you're a white liberal woman, please do not come. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you. If you want to watch the true crime stuff, that's fine. But I'm sorry, you're not going to like anything that comes out of my mouth when it comes to politics. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, kind to one another. God bless, folks. We'll see you soon.